Today on the Gold Standard.
We saw a big inflation of the dot-com bubble, and then the bubble popped. We saw another big inflated market into 2008, and literally just weeks before and months before, we heard rhetoric from our leaders that everything's okay, we don't expect anything, and then again that bubble popped. The big easy gains over the last 10 years are gone. If you missed it, you missed it. All you can do is protect what you have today.
This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Dino. Welcome to the Gold Standard, your source for secure investment opinion and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group, and his peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Ken, it is a pleasure to join you again this week.
Nice to be with you, Dave. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, indeed, we do. Our topic is why gold and why now? Let's begin by talking about why it is so important we protect our savings and investments with gold and other precious metals. More and more articles are warning us of inflation, a recession, or a falling stock market. One this week had the headline, "The U.S. Federal Reserve's campaign against inflation might not be finished until you've lost money." Ken, what are they saying?
Well, it's the financial system is as stable as our border, according to Kamala Harris. She said the border is secure. And let's just look at real quick this article that you mentioned. And one of the most worrisome quotes in the article came from Brian Overby. He's a senior market strategist at Ally Financial. He stated, "It's clear that the Fed wants to see tighter financial conditions, which include lower stock prices." In other words, the Fed knows that their anti-inflation policies are going to hit Wall Street negatively. The market's going to lose value, Dave, and that means your investments are probably going to be worth a lot less. So your investments are going to be worth a lot less. Remember, folks, we're in a housing bubble, we're in a stock market bubble, we're in an interest rate bubble, but we're also in a dollar bubble. So besides your investments losing a lot of value, your purchasing power on your savings and your dollar is also under threat just by all the money that's being printed.
Ken, week after week, we get warnings like this from those in the know financially, and yet so many people just don't know what to do to safeguard their wealth. That is, to keep from losing money, as they have done several times in the past 20 years. I mean, history itself is a warning, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it matters. It's relevant. And there's something more important than just, today. How much could I make today? What could I do today? What could we trade today? What could we speculate in today? That all of that thinking, and there's still a lot of that out there, that has to disappear for a long while. And the only way that disappears is people get crushed. So, we've been talking about this for a while. This is the mother of all bubbles, Dave, when it comes to stocks, bonds, the dollar, and real estate. And it's because of this unlimited, reckless money creation by our politicians and by our central bankers. It's just reckless. It's unsustainable. And the inevitable collapse of the financial system is right around the corner. And you got to have something that's strong, something that will be there when you need it. And you got to get some money out of this market. You got to get some money out of the banking system. And the easiest, most liquid way to do that, something that will always have value, something that will keep your purchasing power, something that is money, something that is a medium of exchange and a store of value, is physical gold. And that's what we talk about every week. This is not a trade, Dave. It's not a speculation. This is something that you want to put aside. You want to pull some paper out of the markets and you get it into gold. You put it somewhere and it'll be there when you and your family need it. And based on its track record, Dave, it will hold its value, and there's a very, very good chance that we could see a big increase in gold's value in the next 5 or 10 years because we're going to see such a big decrease and a lot of these other paper instruments.
A reminder here that you are listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and our topic today is why gold and why now. Let's talk for just a moment about this whole issue of our investments or our savings diminishing because of inflation and recession. Looking at Wall Street and looking at the warnings from different financial experts there, the thought is that indeed there is going to be a pullback in Wall Street, that our investments are going to lose value as the Fed continues to kick interest rates up. In other words, we're kind of the sacrificial lambs. They're looking at us and saying, hey, sorry about that. We're going to have to take some money from you in order to try and fix the economy. I don't like that.
Yeah, and I mean, they have no chance of fixing the economy, Dave. I mean, they're going to destroy the economy with higher interest rates, and they're going to destroy the real estate market, and they're going to destroy the bond market. But maybe they're looking to destroy everything so that they can swoop in, help everybody, buy everything cheap, and then their power and control is even that much more. But who knows? But the bottom line is you can't fix a debt situation by issuing more debt. Can't do it. You can't fix this problem by just saying we're going to have Fed policy and we're going to print money and we're going to keep spending and spending and spending and spending. They're way behind the curve. It's just a big sham. It's a big mess, and it's going to end very badly. And don't forget, folks, where we came from. This is coming after a 10, 15-year period that was full of money printing. It was a great time for an inflated stock market and an inflated housing market, and people made a lot of money with speculation in cryptocurrencies. Well, those markets which inflated are now going to deflate. And who knows the reasons why? It's just a situation of what is. And you got to deal, Dave, with what is. And the situation today is, how do you protect what you have? Whether if it's been through investing, through luck, through inheritance, through trading, it doesn't matter. Maybe you won the lottery. The thing you have to do is figure out different ways that you can take a good portion of that and preserve it. And that's exactly, Dave, where gold has always come in. The problem is there's no investment advisor, banker, anybody on television. They don't have any incentive to talk about it. They just want to talk about the stock that's up on the day, or the risky crypto that's up on the day, or some sort of thing to just keep people invested in the system. What could we do to keep people invested in this paper system? Because this paper system pays the bills. This paper system gets us reelected. This paper system is something that we can continue to abuse for our own benefit. Well, folks, that's the system we're in, and you do have options. And I would encourage you today, while things are falling apart and while we can see the writings on the wall, get some of your money out of these paper markets, Dave, and move it into gold, move it into silver, and protect yourself and protect your nest egg.
We're going to continue our topic of why gold and why now a little bit later in the program. But first, a reminder that you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And coming up, we're going to look at a specific precious metal that you can use to safeguard your wealth. That's coming up right after this.
Sebastian Gorka here. More than ever, it's critical to convert your cash savings and a good portion of your investments into gold with the only gold company I recommend, Midas Gold Group. Why? Because those pulling the strings behind the Biden administration want to know everything about your finances. They had Biden sign an executive order preparing for a digital currency. Midas Gold Group sees tyrannical implications, especially for MAGA supporters. Digital currency will record all your financial transactions, with 87,000 new IRS agents able to monitor your accounts. So I recommend calling veteran-owned Midas Gold Group to safeguard your wealth with physical gold before it's too late. Gold is private and traditionally holds its value when economies crash. Protect yourself and your family. Go to MidasGoldGroup.com or call 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-GOLD. It's gold you can hold. Call 855-322-GOLD.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. And our topic today is why gold and why now? By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we invite you to come and visit us at our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. Now, it is time for one of my favorite portions of the program, and that's our featured precious metal product of the week. And today, our featured precious metal product is the gold $20 Saint-Gaudens Double Eagle coin, 1907 to 1933. It is a tangible piece of American history. Ken, tell us about that.
Yeah, it really is, Dave. The $20 Saint-Gaudens Double Eagle, Dave, is probably the most beautiful coin ever minted. President Theodore Roosevelt hired a sculptor, Augustus Saint-Gaudens, back in the 1906 period. And the goal at that time was to change the outdated Liberty look, which was used since 1838 with a new, updated, highly detailed design. And what evolved from that were very unique works of art, and they call it the $20 Saint-Gaudens.
The features here, they are really meticulous, aren't they?
It's a gorgeous coin, Dave. I mean, it comes in different qualities. I've never seen a Saint-Gaudens that I don't like, even the ones that are extremely beat up. You know, the front features Miss Liberty holding a torch, lighting the way to freedom as dawn rises over the Capitol, and the reverse is just a great, majestic flying eagle. It's a very unique design with the $20 denomination in God We Trust on the back of the coin, and they contained 0.9675 troy ounces of pure gold. They're a little browner, Dave, than a 24-karat gold coin because they did contain some copper, because it was real money at that time. Consider the $20 Saint-Gaudens as a way to have wealth preservation and diversification through precious metals. It's a historical coin from the U.S. Mint. It commemorates rich American history. It's a foundational, one of the most popular gold products that's on the market. You will not regret owning for your nest egg and your kids and yourself some $20 Saint-Gaudens.
Thank you, Ken. Coming up in a moment, we'll continue with our topic, Why Gold and Why Now, with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. It's coming up right after this.
Sebastian Gorka here, urging you to consider converting your cash savings and a good portion of your investments into gold with the Midas Gold Group. Because if you're a conservative or MAGA supporter, the rhetoric coming from the acting president is appalling. Biden has called companies and individuals who support MAGA policies extremists and semi-fascists. And it's only a matter of time before the administration controls our finances with digital currency. Biden already signed an executive order preparing for digital currency with 87,000 new IRS agents who can monitor our every transaction. I recommend calling veteran-owned Midas Gold Group to safeguard your wealth with physical gold before it's too late. Gold is private and traditionally holds its value when economies crash. Go to MidasGoldGroup.com or call them at 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-GOLD. It's gold you can hold. 855-322-GOLD. Call today.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino, and our topic today is why gold and why now? By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. Now, let's return to our topic of why gold and why now. Ken, we have talked in the past about how gold traditionally holds its value, particularly in times of economic distress. We've used the term a hedge against inflation, or a hedge against a drop in stock values. That seems to be what you are saying. That's what you're indicating.
Well, that's what's happened. Dave, we saw a big inflation of the dot-com bubble, and then the bubble popped. We saw another big inflated market into 2008, and literally just weeks before and months before, we heard rhetoric from our leaders that everything's okay, we don't expect anything, and then again that bubble popped. If you do have the ability to pull some of your money that you've worked very hard for out today, to get some of your investments out of these risky markets now while you still can. You can't speculate, folks, with 100% of your money. You can't do it. You got to diversify, especially at a time like this. The big easy gains over the last 10 years are gone. If you missed it, you missed it. Oh well. All you can do is protect what you have today. And one of the easiest things to do is to give Midas Gold Group a call. We can talk about your situation. We can pull some money out of the bank or pull some money out of the markets. You can diversify into physical gold and physical silver, and we can come up with a plan of defense. And I also think that over the next few years, you're going to see a significant increase in the price of gold, Dave, and a significant increase in the price of silver. That's because you're going to see a continued big decrease in a lot of these paper assets that at this point are very inflated, which soon enough will become very deflated.
A reminder that you are listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and our topic today is why gold and why now? The last thing I want to talk about is the issue of privacy, because we are seeing more and more signs that the government wants to know about our finances. First of all, the government is going after more taxes. That's why they are going to hire 87,000 more IRS agents over the next 10 years. They want more money from us, and they also are looking at converting our currency system to a digital system, and in doing so, they will then have a record of every financial transaction that we make. They will be able to know everything about our finances unless we own gold. Gold is private.
Yeah, and very important. That's a very good point, Dave, and very relevant. Back in March, as we spoke about before, President Biden signed Executive Order 14067, which was the responsible development of digital assets. So that's exactly where we're headed. In a perfect world scenario for the government, Dave, our accounts are going to be held either via the Fed or via the Treasury Department, and we're going to be involved in central bank digital currencies, digital money. And you're exactly right. It's something that could have 24-hour, 365, 7-day a week surveillance through an app on our telephone. All the transactions that go in and all the transactions go out. We have zero financial freedom, zero financial privacy. So for some folks like us here at Midas Gold Group that still believe in financial freedom and financial privacy, you got to do something about that. Well, the one thing you can do is you can get some money out of the system today, and you can move it into private gold, private silver in your own possession or in your retirement account. Get it out of the system, get it away from the watchful eyes of what's coming. But that's definitely where this road leads. Not to mention, when it is reset, when it does go digital, how much is our money actually going to be worth and how much is it going to buy? That's very, very scary. We've seen other countries like Poland and Hungary and Argentina nationalize currency systems and nationalize retirement systems. And for people to think that that couldn't happen here is a very bad, risky assumption to make in one way or another. So I would just urge people, Dave, to be very careful. I would urge them to be proactive, not reactive. I would urge them to be bold at this point, be bold and own gold. And that would allow them to have some choices, and it will allow them to survive the upcoming financial crisis or implosion or, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure they'll come up with some fancy names, but whatever they come up with, it'll be too late. You got to try to make those decisions now while you still can and while you're in a position of somewhat strength.
A reminder here that you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and our topic today is why gold and why now? I love your unofficial motto there at Midas Gold Group. Gold you hold is gold you own. And I might add, and it's private.
The only way to own gold for wealth preservation is to own it physically, either in your own possession in bars and coins or in your IRA in bars and coins. That allows you to have the privacy and the financial freedoms that you do as Americans that we deserve. Every single American right now, Dave, should be considering diversifying some of their money into gold because it'll be there when a lot of this other stuff isn't, when a lot of this other stuff, this paper stuff, this fiat stuff disappears, or at least it'll be worth and buy a lot less years from now, which is pretty much a guarantee.
One further thought, and that is, you alluded to this, that at any time, financial institutions could be shut down and we would find it impossible to withdraw our funds from those either investments or those savings accounts. And all it would take would be one horrendous occurrence here in the country. And we have already seen that those kind of things can happen, that there can be unforeseen events that can be catastrophic. And that could cause all of those financial institutions to shut down and keep us from having access to our funds.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. And we've seen that many other times, especially in Cyprus most recently, where there was a bail-in, which means that when you woke up the next morning, there was a portion of your accounts that were just gone.
Wow.
For people to think that that couldn't happen here is a very, very bad, risky assumption to make. More importantly, and even more scary, it could happen anywhere in the world, and more than likely will, Dave. There's tanks that are protecting the banks in China because they froze some of the client assets. It will happen in other countries. The system is unsustainable. It's a big Ponzi scheme, this financial fiat system. It's a big pyramid. It's a house of cards, and eventually it's going to crumble. And the fact of the matter is most people will be destroyed financially when that happens. For people who own gold, that doesn't have to be the case. You don't have to be financially destroyed when the dollar crashes or buys hardly anything. You don't have to be financially destroyed when the housing market, the bond market, and the stock market lose tremendous value. You don't have to be financially destroyed. And that's where gold comes in. It's a crisis precious metal. It's crisis money. It'll always be worth something. And these are the decisions, Dave, that people have to make now. These are the moves that you have to do while you still can, because like you said, if we wake up one morning and everything's frozen, if we don't have access to anything, we definitely won't be able to move anything around. So now is the time to make those hard decisions, but important decisions. And when all of this falls apart and when all of this crumbles, people that did it, moved some assets into gold, are going to be awfully glad that they did it.
Yeah, three of the saddest words that anybody could utter. I wish I had.
Well, this is the opportunity to do, Dave, and I would urge people to take advantage of that opportunity.
That is going to bring us to the end of our time together today here on The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. And a reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com, M-I-D-A-S, MidasGoldGroup.com. The Midas Gold Group is proud to be, as Ken alluded to a moment ago, America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. Ken, thank you again for your time today.
Yeah, nice to talk to you as always, Dave.
I'm Dave Dino, and I hope you'll come and join us again next week at the same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.